Good morning, dear students. Now we are going to learn about classical theory of employment. As we are human beings, we have so many wants. These wants are satisfied or fulfilled with the help of goods and services. These goods and services are to be produced. We use them when we produce the goods and services, employment is generated. With the employment, we get income. Every person in the economy has a aspiration to get employment. Income comes from employment. The availability of goods and services due to employment, the path to purchasing power. Employment theories are mainly classified into two types: classical employment theory, as well as second one, Keynes employment theory. Classical employment theory. Employment theories are theories about production, employment, and income. Classical employment theory is a summary of concepts expressed by classical economists about production, employment, and income. Economists such as J.S. Mill, J.B. Say, David Ricardo, and A.C. Pigou were cited by Karl Marx as traditional economists or classical economists. J.S. Mill, J.B. Say, David Ricardo, A.C. Pigou are the main are important classical economists. Their approaches or their views are called classical employment theory. Classical theory of employment assumptions. There is a perfect competition in labor and product market. Full employment is the basic feature of economy. Monetary neutrality. There is a price flexibility and wage flexibility. Automatic adjustment mechanism in the economy is working. Full freedom to get our employment or to take production activities. No government intervention or laissez-faire policy. Closed economy. It means there is no exports and imports. Classical employment theory. Classical economists have analyzed classical employment theory as two main equilibriums. First one is real market equilibrium, second one money market equilibrium. Real market equilibrium also divided into two equilibriums. First one is determination of employment level, second one determination of production level. Monetary market employment equilibrium, it is also two types or two parts: determination of price level, determination of money wage level. First one, determination of employment level or equilibrium of employment level. According to classical economists, the employment level depends on demand for demand of labor and supply of labor. Demand of labor and supply of labor are dependent on real wage rate. Real wage rate means wage rate by prices. Here we show this in a equation. dl is equal to function of w by p. In this equation, dl is equal to demand for labor, w by p is equal to real wage rate, f is equal to functional relation, as well as sl is equal to function of w by p. When real wage income increases, demand for labor decreases. So, real wage rate and demand of labor are inverse. There is an inverse relationship between real wage rate and demand of labor. There is a positive relationship between real wage rate and supply of labor. At the real wage rate 300, the demand of labor and supply of labor are equal. It determines the employment rate or employment level. We see this in the diagram. We take or we show the demand of labor and supply of labor on x-axis. Real wage rate is shown on y-axis. DL curve is demand of labor curve. SL curve is supply of labor curve. There is a negative relationship between real wage rate and demand of labor. So DL curve has negative slope. There is a positive relationship between real wage rate and supply of labor. So supply labor curve has positive slope. These DL and SL curves are intersect at point E. Real wage rate is determined as W by P, OW by P. Employment level is determined as ON. Next, determination of production level. According to classical economists, the level of employment depends upon production function. We show production function in a equation. Q is equal to function of LK. In this equation, Q is equal to production, L is equal to labor, K is equal to capital. LK is equal to efficient combination of factors. F is equal to functional relation. Factors of production are shown on x-axis. Production is shown on y-axis. Q is equal to function of LK or production function. This is production function curve. Next, determination of general price level. According to classical economists, the price level depends upon money supply. MV is equal to PT. In this equation, MV is equal to money in the circulation. V is equal to velocity of money. MV, money supply. So M into V is equal to money supply. P is equal to price level. T is equal to transactions. P into T or PT is equal to demand for money. The price level, we get the price level as MV by T. If M is equal to 100, V is equal to 10, T is equal to 100, then what is the value of P or purchasing power of, what is the purchasing power? Purchasing power or price level is equal to 10. Next. Production price level is shown on x-axis. Money supply is shown on y-axis. MV curve is money supply curve. If money supply is OM, price level is OP. Changes in price level as increase in the money supply. If money supply increases from 100 to 200, then what is P? P is P increases from 10 rupees to 20 rupees. So this means that as the money supply increases, the general price level rises. When money supply increases, new money supply curve formed as right side as MV1. Now price level P1, price level increases from OP to OP1. Determination of money wage level. According to classical economists, money wages are based on general level of prices. Price level is shown on x-axis. Money supply is shown on y-axis. There is a positive relationship between price level, money supply and price level. So money wage curve has positive slope. If money supply is W, price level is OP. Classical employment theory, real market equilibrium and money market equilibrium. In the diagram A, we shown on employment is shown on x-axis. Real wage rate W by P is shown on y-axis. DL curve, demand of labor curve. SL curve, supply of labor curve are intersect at point E. Real wage rate is OP OW by P1. Employment is determined as ON. It is shown in diagram A. In the diagram B, employment factors of production are shown on x-axis. Production is shown on y-axis. Q is equal function of LK curve is production function curve with the level of ON employment level. Production factors of production can get OQ quantity of production. In this diagram C, price level is shown on x-axis. Money supply is shown on y-axis. MW curve is money supply curve. OQ OQ productions price is determined as OP. At the OP price level, how the money wages are determined. In the diagram D, we explained the price wage money wage determination level. Price level is shown on x-axis. Money wages are shown on y-axis. OP price level determines the money wages as OW. This is the integrated view of classical employment theory, real market equilibrium as well as money market equilibrium. Changes in price level as increase in money supply. If money supply increases, price level is also increases. Price level, if price level increases, money wages are also increases. Money supply increases from OM to MV to MV1. Price level also increases from OP to OP1. Money wages are also increases from OW to OW1. If at the equilibrium employment stage there is unemployment, Pigou gave a solution, that is wage cut theory. At the stage of ON employment level, if there is some unemployment, classical classical economists Pigou suggests that wage cut, if we decrease or cut the wages, with the decrease of wages we can generate new employment. If when wage cut or decrease in wages, employment increases from ON to ON1. At the increase in employment, the equilibrium changes from OE to OE1. This increases the production from OQ to OQ1. It decreases the price level to price level OP to OP1. Money wages are also decreased from OW to OW1. Classical theory, critical observation. There are so many critics or criticizers on classical employment theory. First one, perfect computation. Assumption of perfect computation is not correct. There is no full employment. Full employment is not correct assumption. Monetary neutrality is not real. Price flexibility also is not real. Trade unions are not recognized. The role of trade unions are not recognized by the classical economists. Automatic adjustment mechanism also not real. Closed economies are not possible at the present situation. Supply creates its own demand is also incorrect. Demand creates its own demand. Savings are not based on interest. Savings are based on income. In as well as investment is not also based on rate of interest. It is based on profits. In the long run, we are all dead, Keynes commented. These are the important critics on classical employment theory. Thank you. Wish you all the best.